Chapter 4. The Battle of the River Charente. From the perspective of Guillaume, aged 7 years old, in 1786. French proverb: You must be a sailor before you are a captain. The Charente River provided a world of adventure and exploration for us. Père appreciated the river's beauty and built his estate and businesses around its natural resources. He hired the area's best rivermen and sailors to manage his shipping business and designed a dock and boathouse on its banks. The dock was built to allow barges to be loaded and unloaded, and the boathouse was built to store various craft, such as a dayboat, a canoe, and 2 bateaux that Père purchased so we could learn to sail. As spring burgeoned, it became more difficult to sit inside, read, write, and study. We'd endured winter, and the desire to be outside would overcome. By the end of April, when our studies were completed, the bonds of indoor gentility were broken, and our boyhood was unleashed. We'd race to the boathouse, Geoffroy's arms swinging wildly as he'd veer from the path and hurdle hedges, fences, and ditches, attempting to beat me there. We'd track down the sailors and rivermen and question them on ways to improve our 2 bateaux. We'd scrounge for tools to scrape, sand, and varnish hulls, streamline keels, lubricate rigging, and repair sails. We'd launch them in mid-May, and within days, were involved in all kinds of adventures. The bateaux were excellent in the water, long and wide at the beam, double-ended with a flat bottom and a shallow keel plank that extended their entire length. Ours were fitted with oarlocks, a mast, a boom, a tiller, and a rudder, as well as 9 square meters of canvas that were put up at full sail. They were also a source of enjoyment for Pére's rivermen and sailors. They'd gather on late afternoons, puffing pipes, spitting tobacco juice, laughing and wagering as our bateaux, now great ships of the line, tacked for position, and we faced each other while brandishing wooden cutlasses, parrying, thrusting, and jumping from boat to boat. They loved watching, and I fully believe they appreciated our pleading with them to teach us how to be better sailors. Every once in a while, we'd get lucky and convince some. They'd board our ship, acting the part of commanders, and order about their fledgling crew. "Put some muscle into that halyard, tadpole. The canvas is sagging, so you're losing speed," instructed Francois, the riverman sitting in the bow of my bateau. I nodded. "Aye, aye, Monsieur Francois." I clutched the halyard, tugging it downward. The sail tightened, and we surged ahead. "Now prepare for a starboard tack, and watch that line." He winked, drawing on the pipe clenched in the corner of his mouth. I shifted my tiller, called, "Ready about," and ducked below the sweeping boom. "Aye, lad, that's a fine maneuver." He puffed out a waft of smoke. "Steady as she goes, hold that line." The breeze carried the calming scent of the tobacco past me, and I inhaled. This was the life. Summer was here. We proved worthy students, and soon were using wind and oars to navigate the river's bends, currents, channels, and rapids. Each passing summer, our skills improved as we applied the lessons we gleaned from ad hoc instructors. Between May and September, rain or shine, we'd be found in our bateau, trimming sails, tacking, navigating currents, racing each other, or having imaginary sea battles. The rivermen shared tales of tall ships and exotic ports of call, and soon we were finding our own favorites on the Charente, places to fish, swim, and anchor to explore the surrounding landscape and tributaries. The seemingly ancient seafarers loved to watch, comment, prod, and goad us as we sailed, raced, and battled. "Aye, boys, ye do well to swashbuckle. There was much hacking and slashing on the decks of warships, but what ye really need for battle are cannons. The great warships had as many as 60 guns, shouted a crusty but enthusiastic voice from our audience while we dropped sail and navigated to the dock. It was a provocation that radiated from heaven itself, and my ears perked. "Cannon? Of course!" I shouted. "But where can we get them?" "Now, you boys are creative and industrious fellows." A seasoned sailor hocked a wad of tobacco spittle into the river. "Good sailors know where there's a will, there's a way. You'll figure it out," he heckled before hobbling away. We now had a situation that needed resolution. True ships of the line required cannons. Our seasoned spectators had said as much. We went to Henri, the estate's forgeron, and begged his assistance. He just shook his muscular neck, refusing to let us use his shop to forge them. "Boys, I see your dilemma." Henri wiped the back of his hand along his soot-covered brow. "But I can't build such things. It's not safe, even for fine sailors such as yourselves." He grabbed the arm of his bellows and pulled. A blast of heat, sparks, and embers shot from the melt pot's furnace. "Besides, I have much to do. I'm sorry, but it's impossible." "But, Monsieur Henri, not even a small culverin or swivel gun?" Geoffroy slouched his shoulders and begged. "They'd fit on our bateau perfectly, and we'd promised to fire only at floating barrels and things," he pleaded. "Please, come on, they're not very big." Henri's huge mouth flashed a toothy grin, and he laughed. "You're very persistent sailors." He pushed a glowing piece of metal into a barrel of cooling oil with his tongs. "But be satisfied sailing merchant vessels, like your father's. But we sail ships of the line, warships that need cannons. We can't be in the monarch's navy on a merchantman. Please. Pere says you can build anything. Please, I petitioned, curling my lips into a pout, cajoling, trying to catch a sympathetic ear. He set his tongs on an anvil, sweat dripping from the tip of his nose. He picked up a huge hammer. Boys, have your father come speak with me, then I may consider it. He winked at us. Now, out the door and step lively. I need to finish this. We'd struck an obstacle, not yet a dilemma, but rather a challenge that called for a creative solution, and we truly loved nothing more than a challenge. That didn't go well. I guess Henri's out, Geoffroy bemoaned and rolled his eyes. No, not well at all. I didn't think he'd do it anyway. No one's going to let us shoot real cannons. I rubbed my chin. We need something that looks like a cannon and sounds like one, but won't blow up anything. Besides, where would we get cannonballs? How about stones? Geoffroy's eyes burst open. No, I don't want to be hit by one of those either. Hey, then what about corks? Wine bottle corks would work. They're spongy and wouldn't really hurt anything. Great idea. Corks. That's it. Pere has plenty, but what can we shoot them with? We walked to Geoffroy's bedroom, took out some paper and pens, and started sketching pictures of cannons and cannonballs. We looked at books with pictures of ships of war, field pieces, and fortresses, but no ideas popped into our heads. Wine corks was a good idea, Geoffroy, but there's nothing to shoot them with, I lamented, with folded arms across my chest. A week after Henri's refusal, we were playing Shogun warriors, tracking enemies of the Emperor, searching the jungles of Mare's Japanese garden. Guillaume, I see footprints. They must be close. Listen carefully. We don't want to be surprised. An early summer breeze blew and rattled the long, sleek, emerald-green leaves of Mare's bamboo plants. Geoffroy froze. He lifted his ear to listen, curling the corners of his mouth. Hey, I think I know the solution to our problem, he shouted, clapping his hands. We'll use bamboo. Guillaume, go get a saw. A devious grin crinkled Geoffroy's sunburned cheeks. I ran to the boathouse where the warehousemen kept their tools. I searched through a pile, found what I was looking for, and ran back. Did you get it? Yes, I got 2. We only need 1, numbskull. You're doing the cutting, Geoffroy chuckled. I crossed my arms. Why do I have to do all the work? Geoffroy slapped his palm against his forehead. Because I'm the boss, and someone needs to be on the lookout. I narrowed my eyes. You're always the boss. Why? Because I'm the oldest and smartest, and it was my idea. Now, stop your whining and get to it. I'll make sure no one's watching. Cut some canes that are about the diameter of a gold lever. We'll need 3 with lengths twice your height. Now, get to it. I stomped the ground and turned up my nose. All right, I'll do it, but I'm not happy. I crept into the bamboo jungle, went about sawing, and returned with an armful of canes. Geoffroy examined and grinned his approval. Nicely done. I assigned the right man, he saluted. Good job, soldier. We snuck to the boathouse and cut them into lengths of 1 meter, then plugged and pinned one end with a wooden dowel. We finished by drilling touch holes into the plugged end. The next morning, we rolled our artillery onto the boathouse dock, beautiful green barrels mounted onto wooden crate platforms with wheels made from nail keg covers. We poured a small charge of black powder down one of the makeshift cannon barrels, then wadded and rammed in the cork from a wine bottle. We lit our linstock wick and placed it on the barrel's touch hole. Boom! The wine cork blasted out of the bamboo cane and sailed onto the Charente, followed by a billowing puff of smoke and sparks. Geoffroy beamed. Voila! Success! We fitted our bateau with 2 cannons each, along with the powder flask and other necessary ordnance. We then launched our fleet and waged the Battle of the Charente. Our Dessart Armada was soon blasting volleys of cork at various flocks of swan, geese, and ducks that dared to breach our territorial waters. The crack and echo from our cannon volleys must have caught Mare's attention. She appeared at the boathouse and found an assembly of rivermen and sailors howling and carrying on as we peppered flocks of our enemy with wine corks. She forcefully elbowed her way through the assemblage just as I fired a broadside into a congregation of swans. My shot pelted an unsuspecting drake who took flight, hissing in displeasure, and flew directly at me. My stomach knotted, and I gasped as the huge bird bore down on me with his beady black eyes. I screamed as its huge wings pelted my cowering shoulders, knocking me to my backside. Geoffroy let out a whooping howl of laughter. Magnifique! They're fighting back! Prepare to let go another broadside, he ordered, and took to swabbing the barrels to prepare another volley. Mare let out a resounding gasp. Her narrowed eyes pierced us. Guillaume! Geoffroy! Stop this instant! Her scream detonated the surroundings, sounding like no cannon blast ever could. The rivermen froze. Geoffroy froze. And I froze. You two, stop this! Out of those boats! Get over here now! We hastily maneuvered our bateau to the pier, moored, came ashore, and sheepishly walked the plank to the boathouse landing. I peered at the dock floor as I skulked toward Mare. Geoffroy's face was smeared with grime, and he had his head down, cowering in an attempt to deflect the wrath that was about to come. Mare's eyes were afire, her forehead lined in outrage. "What have you done?" She glared at the old sailors. "What have you put these boys up to?" Her voice trembled. "Leave us immediately, before I do something rash. I need to deal with these two, but be assured I'll deal with you later." The burly bystanders paled and hurriedly darted away in various directions. Mare turned, scowling. "How could you? How could you place yourselves in such danger? That is gunpowder you're playing with. Gunpowder. It explodes. It kills people. Wait until I tell your father." "But, Mare, it's just a small bit. It only makes a loud noise," said Geoffroy. "Loud noise? It blows people to smithereens. And those birds. Why are you shooting at birds?" "They're not birds. They're our enemy. You can't have a battle without an enemy," I said logically, thinking she'd understand. "Guillaume, stop. Do not say another word. I am too distressed to discuss this. Go to your rooms, now. Think about what you've done, using gunpowder and scaring innocent birds. Prepare to provide an explanation. I need time to settle down. You'll hear from me later. Now go." We realized compliance was the better part of valor and slowly trod back to the chateau, kicking at sticks and stones as we trudged along. "Mare's pretty upset," I said. "But why? It's just a bit of powder, corks, and old birds." "I hope the rivermen won't be blamed," responded Geoffroy. "We're the ones who armed our ships. We built the cannons." He walked close and patted me on the back with a curled smirk. "I love the way you fearlessly faced down that drake." My face warmed. "Yeah, well, the cannons sure worked great, didn't they?" I eyed my brother's smoke-smudged face and giggled. "They sure did, Admiral Guillaume. They sure did," he yelled, pushed me back, and broke into a run. "I'll beat you to the dungeon." "No, you won't, scallywag," I shouted, and chased after.